Lynn Sprague, the Director of Training and Advocacy at SOL, Survivors Organizing for Liberation, formerly the Colorado Anti-Violence Program, speaks with Cruz, the partner of Nate Mancha, about the Justice for Nate campaign at SOL's annual fundraiser that happened Thursday, November 5th at the Tivoli Turn Hall in Denver. Lynn Sprague also references Jesse Hernandez, the 17-year-old who was fatally shot by Denver police earlier this year.
And I'm here with Cruz, and we are two folks in the Justice for Nate support team. And so because you all are our community and our family, we wanted to give you some updates and let you know where things are at and how you can show up around folks who are experiencing the kinds of violence that folks like Nate have experienced. So this is the Justice for Nate campaign, and it has everything to do with Nate Mancha, who is a queer person of color who is living here in Colorado with us. And in March of 2014, Nate, who had just turned 24, defended himself against a homophobic hate crime that happened down in Colorado Springs. And Nate did the one thing that a queer person isn't supposed to do in a world that is still trying to erase us. He said no, he fought back, and he behaved as if his life as a person mattered in the world. And he defended himself. And then he was arrested for his act of self-defense. And he remained in jail for almost 9 months until his trial in October of last year. And many of you in the room know this and showed up for court support and wrote Nate letters and sent money to Nate while he was in jail. So here's what happened in the trial. The district attorney didn't believe that Nate had a right to defend himself. The almost all-white jury also didn't believe that he had a right to defend himself, and the judge also didn't believe him. And the jury came back with a guilty verdict, and on December 12th, Nate was given the maximum sentence for first-degree assault of 32 years. And so in March of this year, Nate started his 32-year sentence in Territorial Correctional Facility, which is just a little bit south of Colorado Springs. What I want you all to know that Nate's support campaign will continue, because now Nate needs us more than ever, right? So we know that the criminal justice system was not built for queer folks, right? It's a system that will never keep us safe, and it's a system that routinely, thinking about what we just learned about Jesse, right, takes our people away from us. So Nate knows that all too well now, and our other family and our other queer family in prison knows that too. And so here's what is required of us in this moment in time. They need us to be visible. So they need us to be really loud, and they need us to be really, really, really fucking angry about that. And they need us to bring all of our tenderness and our full hearts to the family that's inside. As Nate begins his first year of his sentence, the campaign is really focused on making sure that he is safe and making sure that he has the money that he needs on his books so that like day-to-day survival is actually possible for him. So I'm going to tell you a couple things that it would be really, really amazing that you all could do. So if you have a minute before you leave tonight, I want you to write something to Nate and let Nate know that you are thinking about him, and that somebody that is facing what Nate is facing, that his community is wrapped around him. Some of you know this, but actually sending mail to folks that are incarcerated actually helps keep people alive, because mail call happens very publicly. And so somebody, saying, hey Nate, you have 3 postcards today, lets folks working in prisons know that there are people on the outside keeping their eyes on folks. And so it actually has a direct correlation to keeping our people safer. So we're going to send Nate mail. We're going to let him know that we love him. There's a website. There's a justicefornate.com website that is maintained by his support team. It's got a lot of information. Go to that website tomorrow in the next couple days and look at all the other ways that you can get involved and support Nate, because there's some really practical things that you can do to support him right now. Because this is now a marathon with Nate's campaign, and we're not going anywhere. So the other thing that I want you to sort of think about doing is Nate is not alone in terms of like queer survivors or survivors of color who self-defend and sort of like protect their bodies and then who get targeted by the system for their self-defense. So I want everybody sort of in this room to think about how you can divest from this idea that folks who defend themselves actually should be punished, right? And so I want you to think about the ways in which you can invest in other accountability models that are about how we sort of let people know that we're going to keep our communities safe and absolutely reject a criminal legal justice system that has never been built for us and never has our backs, right? So there's folks that are actually doing community accountability model work here. Let's just keep building those models and continue to say like no to the systems that don't protect us and continue to say yes to like models that actually can help keep our communities safe.